Hey everybody, welcome back to another Sales Power Tips video blog. Butch Bellah here with you. Thanks so much for visiting with me on your day today. I want to talk about the steps to a sale. And we're going to break this into two different video blogs, one this week, one next week. So make sure that you get to watch both. Now, I teach an 8 or 10 step sales process. I know some of you have a 4-step, 40-step, 47-step, whatever the case may be. That's fine. That is not what today we're going to talk about. What we're going to talk about is for you to understand your steps. What steps does it take from prospecting to ultimately becoming a customer for you to take a customer entirely through the process? You have to know at each step what the next step is. Where are you going from here? What do you want to accomplish with this step of the process? So that's the thing I want you to get down. I'm going to share with you that we're going to get through half today. We'll get through half next week. We'll take you to the first half of the sales steps that I teach. And it's a 10-step process. The first step is obviously prospecting. I don't care, and you've heard me say this hundreds of times, I don't care how good a closer you are. If you don't have someone to talk to, you're not going to be a very good closer. It doesn't matter how good a closer you are. So you've got to be prospecting. So that's step one. Step two is building rapport. Now, that is a long-term process. And as we get into the second phase of this, when we get into overcoming objections, I want to tell you something. The more time you spend building rapport, the less time you're going to spend overcoming objections, okay? Because people buy from people that they know, like, and trust, and that's what this whole building rapport part is about. So once you prospect and you find someone that you can talk to, start building rapport. Don't rush this part of the sale. If you rush this part of the sale, you're in trouble, okay? Step three is going to be qualifying. Are they a qualified prospect? Are they someone that meets the needs or that you can meet their needs and they fit the profile of what you're looking for? As we get into the second part again next week when we talk about the objections and I can't afford it. If somebody tells you that they can't afford it and they really can't afford it, where did you make the mistake? In qualifying. You should have found that out in the qualifying portion of the process. So we've got prospecting, we've got building rapport, establishing rapport, we've got qualifying. The next thing I do is establish an initial verbal contract, an initial oral agreement, if you will. And that is simply, you've got to understand your prospect is scared at this point. They don't know what's coming, they don't know what's happening. I want to let them in on, here's what we're going to do. And I tell them, Mr. Prospect, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to learn a little bit more about your company. I want to share with you some things that we do. And then I want to go back and work with my team to put together a proposal and sit down and you and I look at it together. And if we decide that it makes sense for us to work together, I've got some next steps. Is that fair enough? Now, notice that I harp on a couple of things. Team and together. I use those words a lot. You may just simply be going back and replacing one logo on a PowerPoint with another, but I want them thinking of the old World War II movies with a bunch of generals standing over a map with your team working on something. Because when you call back for that appointment to make the presentation, hey, I'm excited about what my team has put together for you. Much harder for them to tell you no because you got a team working on this. They're not telling Butch no. I can't tell his whole team no. So use the word team and use the word together because we want to make this decision together. So we've got prospecting, establishing rapport. We're going to have the initial upfront oral agreement, and then we're going to do the needs analysis, okay? The needs analysis is when you literally sit down and you ask questions of your prospect. Ask open-ended questions, and then listen. Listen intently. Listen both verbally, orally, everything. Orally, audibly. Listen with your eyes. Listen with your ears. See their body language. Find out what they're telling you, okay? And the next step is after needs is to convert those needs to wants, is to figure out, because again, we talked about before, people don't buy what they need, they buy what they want. So we have to convert those needs to wants. So the first part of the sales process, and this is what I want to get through today, are those steps, is prospecting, establishing rapport, qualifying, the upfront oral agreement, the needs analysis, and then converting those needs to wants. Next week, I want to get into asking for the sale, overcoming objections, and so forth, and we'll do that next week. All right? Thanks for joining me for another Sales Power Tips video blog. Pick up my book, Sales Management for Dummies. You can order it from my website. You can also find it at Amazon. Book retailers all over the world would love to have you have a copy. Leave me a review at Amazon.com. Thanks so much for being here with me, everybody. God bless you. I'll see you next week.